everyone, welcome back. I just had to film this intro like 4 times because it's bizarre how quickly you fall back into old habits. It was like I'd never been away. I sat down and I went, hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a lovely day, which is exactly what I used to say in all my videos before. So that's clearly a habit that's just embedded into me now. We're back in the no-buy seat. It's been so long since we were in the no-buy seat, and really at this point by the no-buy seat it's just me and the Palm, which quite honestly I think has seen better days. I think it needs a bit of love. Oh, did I just make it worse? Okay. I'm armed with notes for this video. You know it's a no-buy video when I bring notes, because you have to strap in for these. There's going to be a lot to cover and I'm going to try and do it in the most efficient way. As someone whose financial circumstances are significantly different, and as someone who is going out into the world by themselves and being completely financially independent and all the responsibility falling to me and sort of having no one else as a safety net, I thought now more than ever is the perfect time for me to do a no-buy. My no-buys of 2020 and 2021 were both huge successes. I need to go through some of my old videos. I know a few of you have been asking about them and see which ones I want to put back on, but my no-buy well, okay. But my 2021 no-buy rules video was the most viewed video on my channel before I took my break. So I will look back through those and see which ones I want to re-upload. They're all actually still sat there, they're just on private at the minute. So I'll go back through and work out which ones I want to put on. But any that you particularly do want to see again, if you can remember any of them, just let me know in the comments and I will go back and prioritise looking at those first. So as I said, the previous no-buys I've done were really successful. I know I've said it in my previous video, but in 2021 I was able to save £10,000 of my net income doing my no-buy. Given my financial circumstances this time around, that would basically be impossible, but it was just such a significant saving that I made by cutting back in so many areas of my spending. Given the situation that I am in now, if I hadn't done those no-buys and if I hadn't made those significant savings over the course of that year, I would be in a bit of a problem right now. I'm going to make a video about how doing those no-buys have basically saved me, and that's why now more than ever I place so much significance on doing something like this and really assessing your spending, because having that safety net of spending and building it up is so important when the big things happen in life. And I seem to be hit with them one after the other in a really short space of time, and I will explain all of that in that video that I'll have coming up soon. That you realise that having those savings is far more important than having, you know, shopping sprees for clothes and going out to eat a lot and all of those other things, those little things that we can spend a lot of money on if we don't keep on top of it. Now, I've always said, and I've always been a big believer of, there is no point in going to work and working hard if you can't enjoy your money a little bit. And you will see that today in my rules that I'm setting out for myself, that I'm not completely restricting myself, but a lot of this is about tracking a lot better and making sure that I'm sensible, I guess is the right word. I'm going back to a very standard no-buy system. We're going to have a set of rules to follow to make it a bit easier for me to remember and almost like visualize when I'm out and about. I've broken it down into red, amber and green. So green is what I'm allowed to spend money on, no limitation. Red is what I can spend zero money on, no exceptions. And then amber is you can spend a bit of money in here. There are things to consider, planning to do, and make sure you're sensible. Before I started putting my plan together, I went back through all of my debit card and my credit card statements to see where I had started to slip up over the last few months, because I'm not gonna lie, I have spent some money. With everything that had been going on in my life, it was just easier for me to get out of the house, spend time with friends, go to places. So many times on the weekend, me and my best friend, we would just get in my car and we would just drive somewhere, and we would have like a day out or even a weekend away and like book a hotel and just go to a different city and explore and spend time, which also comes with petrol costs, eating out, and any sort of experiences you have along the way. So that was where I spent the most money, eating out especially. And then second to that was I slipped back into bad habits with clothes. I bought quite a few clothes, but more often than not, it was like gym clothes. I have been on a bit of a fitness kick. Honestly, the gym has been so good for my mental health when I felt like I needed somewhere to go and something to just focus my attention on not the craziness that was going on. I went to the gym and it's actually been going really, really well. I will post like a progress picture here from last March to this March, so really recently. And honestly, I couldn't believe the difference. I don't think you notice it on the day-to-day when you see yourself every day, but then when I looked back and did the comparison, I was actually pretty shocked about it. So that's good. I've never really made health and fitness content before because it's not really my area, but if you're interested to know anything about that journey and how I sort of did this, then let me know, because I'm sure I could make a video on it. It'd be a bit different to the normal content and definitely not something I'd make like a lot of videos on, but if you just wanted the story, that can happen. But I am terrible with tangents, but I spent quite a bit on things like gym clothes and outfits for the gym. So that's something I definitely need to stop. So we'll start at the green section because that's a very short section, and then we'll work our way through amber and go to the red section. So the green section, which are the things I'm allowed to spend money on as I need to, as I see fit, and I don't have to restrict my spending there, there's three things. So the first one is bills, and this is the third, probably fourth time, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, fourth time that I have said this at the start of my no buy video, and that is I'm allowed to pay my bills. So for me, that will be mortgage, council tax, utilities like gas, electric, water, internet, groceries. I would even count petrol in that if we're talking just the compulsory petrol to get me to and from work, because I need to do that to pay my bills. Then beyond that, I suppose, is like for travel is additional to that. There are so many more bills that I have to pay that I'm not thinking of. Phone contract. And then things that aren't really bills but are other expenses that I consider a necessity. So that would be things like my contact lenses and so on. So I'm just going to carry on paying my bills as normal. Once things have started to settle down, because I'm very much in a transition stage in terms of finance and house stuff and whatnot at the moment. Once things settle down, I will be looking at ways to minimize some of my bills and look at different service providers and things like that, but all in good time. The second thing is my car, so the maintenance for my car, running my car, insurance, tax, all of that good stuff. Obviously, I'm going to pay that. As I said, I need to get my car in working order to be able to go to work to earn money in the first place. And then the last thing is gym membership, just because of how valuable that has been to me from a health point of view, from a mental health point of view, keeping me focused, and the enjoyment factor I get from it. I actually love being at the gym. I can't explain it. I never thought I'd be that person. So I pay my gym membership yearly and it rolls over in August. So when that rolls around, I will be letting myself pay for another year doing the gym, because that is something really important to me. So that was on the green. We're keeping that. So the green list is very short, probably because bills, that covers a lot of things. But then we move into the yellow. I might have to do yellow and red at the same time, because you'll kind of see a bit of comparing and sort of conflicting ideas going on. For example, so if we start off with household. So given the circumstances that I'm in, that I am going out on my own and I was, or still am, at home in this house where everything is shared, things are being split and things are going separate ways. So there are going to be items of furniture that I will need to buy again, sort of small electrical items, I don't know, like a kettle or an iron. Like there's going to be practical household purchases that I will need to make. And so that's where, in terms of the household, that's on the amber side. So if they're practical, we can make them, but I'm very adamant, and this is where the asterisk for this one comes in, I am very adamant that I am going to put time and thought into this. So I'm not going to rush out and try and do a whole room all in one go. I want to think about the aesthetic I'm going for, colours that I'm going for, the practicality of what I'm buying and make sure none of it's wasteful and I'm going to end up with something I don't like or I don't use. So the asterisk is really just to make me slow down and not rush into anything. But anything practical household is okay. On the flip side of that, on the red side, for now, decorative household. I think it's very important until things settle down and I've got a good idea of what my financial circumstances will be moving forward, that we don't waste money on this. We don't do too much in terms of the decorative side. Let's get a practical, functional space to live in, worry about that later. So I think that's a fair split. Then we've got the whole clothes, accessories, shoes, bags, all of that sort of department. So over on the amber side, clothes. Careful planning, no impulse buys, really thinking about how it works with my wardrobe if I want to buy it. And most of this has come from the fact that I know I need new pieces in my wardrobe because of my weight loss. So many of my clothes don't fit anymore, they look ridiculous, and so I'm going to sort of be plugging gaps. But I've got to be so totally sensible about it. I think one of the things I've learned whilst I've been away from my channel, and as I said, I kind of let the bad habits slip back in, is I think deep down, I will always be a material girl. And I think I've been kidding myself all this time, trying to act like I'm not. I can be so minimal in so many areas, but when it comes to clothes, I just want the clothes. So I am going to give myself some freedom there, but I do know I need to tighten the screws, probably not to the level of my first no buy, where I went 6 months without buying a single item of clothing. I think when I did buy something, it was about June. It was something really boring, like a pair of trousers for work, to replace a pair that had a hole right in the crotch. So it wasn't even anything exciting. So not quite to that level of restriction, but still sensible with it. And I think once I get my head back into that mind space, I'll be absolutely fine. On the other side, I've already said gym clothes, absolute no. We've got too many of those. Shoes, I don't need any shoes. And bags, I don't need any bags. So a lot of the accessories department is a definite no. Clothing as well, if it really doesn't fit in with my wardrobe. I think one of the things I've actually maintained whilst being away and still like doing a little bit of clothing shopping here and there is the concept of a capsule wardrobe, keeping a colour palette, only buying things that will sort of work with other pieces. I think I've just sort of got that ingrained in me now. So that's actually okay. So that's continued, and so anything that doesn't fit within the capsule wardrobe that isn't going to work across multiple pieces is a definite no. That then takes us almost in the same category onto jewellery. For the vast majority, jewellery is a big no. I have a very small jewellery collection as it is anyway, and that's always been the case. I still wear this necklace all the time. This was a Christmas present from my dad a few years ago, and I love it, and I wear it to work every day, and it just stays with me. So in terms of most jewellery, I'm set. The only thing I'm putting on this side, and again, that is if I've really looked into something and I definitely love it and I've waited a long time, and that's rings. Because of my jewellery pieces, I think because of how much I wash my hands and really do not help myself with that at all, my rings are the only things that ended up tarnished. Everything else is fine, still really good condition even after a good few years. I've had my pieces from about 2 to 5 years for the vast majority of them, and they're all doing really well, but my rings are the one thing that are not in great condition, so I wouldn't mind some new rings. But again, sensible, not something I'm going to be rushing into. Makeup and beauty is on the amber side, just because that's a consumable product, I'm going to end up using it up, and as with previous no buys, that is going to be a one in, one out system. We are not trying loads of products. I think I'm actually finally in a place where I found a whole bunch of products that I really like and that work well together and I'm happy with. So only replacements, one in, one out. Same goes for beauty, so moisturizers, shampoo, conditioner. I've really minimized my skincare now. I used to use loads of serums and whatnot, and honestly, I just think that was making the catastrophe that sometimes happens on my face a lot worse. And actually, since I've stopped using those, they've been a little bit better. So I've started to cut back on the number of different products I use anyway in my skincare, so that'll be good. On a similar note will be beauty appointments. So the only beauty appointments I'm going to allow myself is hair, but I'm planning on going down to maybe 1 or 2 hair appointments a year. So I was getting my highlights redone and then just everything tidying up, about every 16 weeks because that's how long I could drag it out. My root regrowth was not terrible, and so I was able to drag it out a little bit. And next month, the lady that does my hair is going on maternity leave, so she's not going to be back for ages. So I said to her, perfect time to start growing my hair out. So we did my one last appointment where she redid my highlights, but then put a root smudge in. And she just says when my hair starts to grow out again, it will just blend a lot better. And rather than having that big block as it grows through, it will just be more, I guess blended in is the right word. So hopefully that means I can go a good long while now, start growing my hair back out, and maybe pop in once or twice just to tidy up the ends and whatnot, because they do die pretty easily. So I really don't plan to have my highlights done again, hopefully for the rest of the year. So that should be a big expense that I would have been paying, you know, £100 every 16-ish weeks, so potentially 4 times in the year. So that'll be good not to be doing that. No other beauty appointments. The rest are going in the red zone because I can do all of my beauty myself at home. I don't need to go to appointments to do brows or waxing or nails or anything like that. I've got all of that down on my own, so that's in the red side. Next in the yellow is Hobbies, and the condition around this is I'm happy to spend a bit of money on hobbies and things I enjoy, things that are helping me develop in a particular skill, things that just make me happy in general, things I'm already sort of committed to doing. The thing I want to avoid is hobbies on a whim. Buying things for the sake of, oh, I just want to try this out, and then nothing ever comes of it. It ends up in a cupboard somewhere, or you end up spending a bit of money and nothing happens. Like, I'm all for trying new things, but I think at this stage in the game, I just need to be realistic. I have recently taken up clay pigeon shooting as a new-ish hobby. I went with a friend and I've gone a few times since. I've had some lessons and I've really got into that, but that can be quite an expensive one. So if I want to continue doing that, I think it's fine, but just being sensible and realistic about how much I'm spending on it, and bearing in mind, you know, I have other hobbies as well, so just keeping track of the spending of the hobbies. But I'm not going to say no hobbies because that would be really, really dull. Then we've got gifts. This is an area I struggle in. I think I'm quite a generous person by nature, so when I get somebody a gift, I usually spend quite a bit of money. I think over the course of the recent years when I've done my no-buys, I've been a little bit better, but I still always want to get something really nice for someone or treat them with smaller gifts at random points for absolutely no reason, just because it puts a smile on their face and brings them a little bit of joy, makes them feel appreciated, makes them feel loved. And as much as I want to continue to do that, I think I've got to be realistic and probably just dial it down a smidge. So gifts are in the yellow zone. And the last one in the yellow zone is experiences, trips, days out, nights out, even things like going out for meals. I think it's really important for me to continue to have some of that enjoyment from those experiences, but once again, just being sensible about it. I would rather spend my money going out and doing things than spend my money on physical items and stuff, bringing it into my space. So if I'm curbing my spending in a lot of areas, it'll be nice to have that freedom to go and have experiences. I'm also really lucky in that the only holiday, like proper holiday, that I will probably now end up taking this year is already booked and paid for. I'm actually going in 3 days. In fact, when this video goes out, I will be on that holiday. And that is a Western European cruise where I'm going to Hamburg, Rotterdam, and it's staying overnight, so you have time to get to Amsterdam and Bruges. So that should be lovely, and I'm so glad I got that booked in and paid for way, way, way in advance, so that now I've actually got a holiday to enjoy and there's no getting out of it. Otherwise, I would have been in a position where I probably wouldn't have booked it and I probably wouldn't have had a proper holiday this year. So I'm glad that's booked in. And because it's a cruise and most of it's pre-booked or prepaid for, then I haven't actually got to spend a lot of money once I go. And that's it for the yellow section, which leaves us just with what's left on my red section. And that is, I'm just going to fire through them now because I'm aware this video is getting really long. So art supplies and stationery, I have an abundance of both. I'm still working my way through them. Over the last year, I've delved, is that the right word? I've delved into a few other art areas. So for me, my art was primarily painting. It used to be oils, but it's mostly acrylics now. And then pencil crayon, sketches and drawings. I've also got graphic markers more recently and do a bit with that. Very occasionally do I do watercolours. I've even got like chalks and charcoals. Very occasionally do I do those as well. I mean, honestly, I barely have the time to sit down and do my artsy stuff. So I've got plenty of supplies. I don't need any more, and I definitely don't need to branch into any other mediums because I can't even keep up with what I've got. Same for stationery. I've just got loads of stationery. I don't need any more. And notebooks. Don't let me buy any notebooks. I've then got books, as in to read. I am pretty much in the exact same situation I was at the start of 2022, which is I don't have many books. Like, I'm not joking, probably like 10 books that I haven't read because I generally declutter books as I've read them. And the amount further along I am in those books is so insignificant. You could basically say I've really not read at all. I've read a little bit, really little bit. But it's like my reading is so few and far between that I have to go back and reread anyway. It's probably why I never finish a book. So until I've read all my books, which I don't foresee happening probably this year, even though it is one of my goals for 2023. Oh, I should share my goals for 2023 at some point. Tangent. I don't need any new books. I've then got physical or digital media. So this is much more strict than before. Before I've always said digital media is fine because it's not taking up any space. Physical media was a no. Now I'm saying let's crack down on all media. I don't really need to buy anything, pay for anything, download anything because I've got plenty to keep me going. I've got a ridiculous amount of DVDs that I never put on because it almost feels like too much of an inconvenience to have to get up and put a DVD on, which now I think about it sounds ridiculous, but we're so used to like instant. And I have Netflix. I cancelled all my other subscriptions for any sort of TV, film stuff, and I kept Netflix. It was the one I kept because Netflix is something I will put on like in the background all the time. Like in the morning when I'm getting ready, there'll be something that I've watched so many times that I don't actually have to pay attention to it, just playing in the background, like Friends or The Big Bang Theory or something like that. It will just be on my phone in the background and I'll take that around with me as I get ready. So I've left myself that one. And honestly, I don't want to spend too much time distracting myself with media. I very, very rarely sit down to watch something on TV. The last thing I watched was The Apprentice. I can't remember before that. I sometimes catch the Formula One. But other than that, I don't sit down to watch TV. It's always just something that's on in the background on my phone. So I don't need any more media. I don't want to spend any more time on media because I would rather be doing productive things. My next, in fact, my final three that I've mentioned are all in like a food department. So I've done these all before in No Buys. And when I set them as my rules, I'm generally really good. So the first is food on the go. Pre-arranged going out and having meals because you're out and all of that good stuff. That is fine. What I'm talking about is if I'm out shopping and get a bit peckish and I think, oh, I'll just pop in and grab a sandwich or a slice of cake or a coffee or something. I don't even drink coffee, or a tea or something like that. None of that. I think that's such a quick way to burn through money unnecessarily when you could have just pre-planned a little bit, maybe taken a snack or a drink with you. Takeaways or takeouts, unnecessary. I can cook for myself. I meal prep really well to minimize food waste, and I'm always planning ahead with that. So there's really no need for me to have takeaways and pay the additional on those. And then this is one that's always a challenge, but I do stick to it pretty well when it's in my no buy, and that is unhealthy food in my grocery shop. So I've already given the grocery shop the green light, but unhealthy food needs to be cut. And by that I don't mean all enjoyable food. I mean just really blatantly obvious junk food, like tubs of ice cream and packets of biscuits and bars of chocolate and bags of crisps and all of those sorts of things where absolutely no goodness comes out of them. I'm much better now at having healthier snacks or protein-based snacks just because of all the sort of fitnessy stuff I've been doing, and so hopefully sticking to that will be easier this time round. And that is all I thought to make notes of for this no buy. This video is very long, but my no buy videos are always long. so I'm not surprised. As with previous years, every now and then I'll bring you updates to let you know how I'm doing. Hopefully this one will be another success. Out of all of them, this is the one I really need to nail more than anything. So there's the rules and we are ready to give it a go. I mentioned it in my previous video and I'll mention it again now. If you are more interested in the more personal side of what I'm up to, when I talk about, you know, having experiences and going out and spending my money that way, those are the sorts of things I tend to post over on my Instagram, because I keep YouTube about the content and Instagram is more personal and what I'm getting up to. So if you do want to follow me on Instagram, I will leave that here. Please head on over there and follow me over there. It is still set to private, but you can request to follow and I'll accept those as they come in. And I think that's about it for this video. So we will see how this no-buy goes. I will keep you updated. Also keep watching for what is basically going to be story time about how my savings as a result of my previous no-buys basically saved my life. But anyway, let's wrap this one up. I've been talking for ages. Thank you so much for watching. It feels great to be back, especially doing a no-buy video. I'm excited to get this one underway. I will see you soon in another video. Until then, take care. Bye.